What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. And guess who's here? Justin is here. The collab continues. Justin's here. Justin, how are you?
Well, I'm tired. I just taught a class that you and our director Liam are in.
That's right.
I didn't really do anything. I just kind of stood there and I just kind of just did what I do best: sit still and look pretty. So that's pretty much it. I'm tired as hell. It was an 8 a.m. It was a mini rehearsal day, so it's a long day. A lot of kinks to work out, but I'm ready to get this show on the road. I know we're on a bit of a time constraint today.
Yep, I got a little appointment at 12, so let's get this thing in. All right, so let's talk NBA trade deadline. By the way, this is an NBA trade deadline theme show.
Who better, right? Who better to have on, right?
Yeah, exactly. Literally. So let's first start off with probably the biggest name was move. Kevin Durant goes to Phoenix.
Yeah. One word. Wow.
Yeah.
This, for people that don't know, this trade dropped at 1:30 in the morning Eastern time. I was sitting in the living room with Jake and Liam, our director, and all of a sudden I get the freaking Woj bomb. You can go to camera 5 if you want to flex yourself if you want to. Liam, I see you waving. But anyway, so I could see that. So I'm sitting there, I'm just chilling. All of a sudden, Woj just hit something, and I'm like, holy shit! Kevin Durant is going to the Suns.
Yeah, literally, what happened? So I was in the living room with you, and our friend Ashton sent me a text. He goes, "KD to the Suns," and I thought, I'm like, he's gotta be messing with me. Yeah. So I want to say anything.
Yeah, or it was one of those like fake accounts pretending to be Woj on Twitter.
So I looked it up and it was like KD to the Suns. I was like, oh my god! And I said, he's like, dude, KD's going to the Suns. You're like, what? Yeah, crazy move. Going back to Brooklyn. By the way, T.J. Warren goes back to Phoenix, where I believe it all started.
He started on Phoenix, I believe. Yeah.
And going the other way to Brooklyn is Mikal Bridges, Cameron Johnson, Jay Crowder, who they ended up moving. We'll get to him in a little bit. And 4 unprotected first, 23, 25, 27, 29, and a swap in 28.
Yeah. That sounds like a lot in terms of quantity. Mm-hmm. But in terms of quality, Sean Marks should be fired. First of all, this Brooklyn Nets team is probably it's not probably. It is the most. It is the biggest crash and burn in NBA history, probably in sports history, even. I have never seen any professional sports team have such high aspirations and completely fall off the face of the flat earth, as Kyrie would believe. And I don't believe the earth is flat, by the way. It's just good to tie it in with Kyrie. But here's the thing. Sean Marks, with this, should be fired. He turned Kyrie, KD, and James Harden, all of which are arguably Hall of Famers, especially Kevin Durant. You turn that into... So you bring back Spencer Dinwiddie, is fine. You keep Seth Curry, which is fine. But you turn that into Cameron Johnson, Mikal Bridges, Dorian Finney-Smith. You know, I remember they had Paul... I remember they had DeAndre Jordan at one point. Turn that. Ben Simmons, you turn that. This is now your team. Like, your starting 5 is arguably now a bottom 5 starting lineup. It probably is, because now your starting lineup is going to be what? It's going to be Dinwiddie, Cam Thomas, who's doing well but reeks of insanity. Probably Joe Harris at the 3, and then you're going to have Ben Simmons and Nick Claxton. That team might get you in an average regular season. That team might get you 45, 50 wins. Yeah. They might get you a 9th seed, or they might get you a 9th seed, or even a play-in spot. Yeah. But they won't. That team won't win you a championship. That team will be at their peak, depending on who they play, for a second round exit. Even first round exit.
Yeah,
all these picks. They're in like 2029. A freaking 7th grader's bawling right now hey guys, shout out Riverdale Middle School. Maybe where I went to school. Maybe you'll be on the Brooklyn Nets one day. Shout out. I'm a Paramus Catholic, Williams High School.
Shout out Northport High School.
Yeah, shout out Northport High. Maybe all these guys are gonna go to Brooklyn. Someday with that 2029 pick. It's just crazy. Why would Sean Marks settle for that? If I am Sean Marks, I'm looking for Chris Paul. I want a veteran player who can at least do something with that team. That we can do something useful with that team. Because even Ayton.
He doesn't want to be in Phoenix.
No, he doesn't want to be in Phoenix either.
He tried to go to Indiana before he went to Phoenix in the offseason.
He didn't want to be there. And Chris Paul is good for that team, yes. The Chris Paul effect is the whole thing. Yes, Chris Paul can. I don't like him. I call him the point peasant. I'm not sure if Jake has mentioned that before, but I have coined the term point peasant because that's what he is. He's not the point god. Calling him the point god is an insult to Allen Iverson. And he was actually a point god. And so I call him the point peasant. But Chris Paul, to give him some respect, he can make a team a playoff team. We saw what he did with the Thunder. We saw what he did with the Suns. He can make that team a playoff team. So pick him up. But yeah, pick up Ayton. Why are you not picking up Ayton? Oh my God, I can't. And now apparently, based off the number one most credible source, my mom, she apparently they are calling the trio of Chris Paul, KD, and Devin Booker the mid-range mafia, which sounds even more cringe than Scary Hours.
Yeah, and also, so as you all know, I'm a Knicks fan. Carmelo Anthony played with the following: Wash Jason Kidd, Raymond Felton, Tyson Chandler, J.R. Smith,
Jeremy Lin.
Jeremy Lin for like a week, who he didn't even like. That's why part of the reason that Lin
Iman Shumpert.
Iman Shumpert and Carmelo accomplished more in New York than KD, Kyrie, and Harden did
on the same team. On the same
exact team.
This
Carmelo won more than one playoff series at least.
If we look at the Lakers and the Nets, especially the Nets, this should prove to every single front office member that super teams never work.
They don't.
The only super teams that I've seen work are the ones that are man-made.
Yeah.
I don't like the Warriors, but to their credit, their championship team outside of KD is man-made.
Yeah.
It's all draft picks. The Bucks outside of Drew Holiday is man-made.
Yeah.
What's Jesus Christ, it's been a long day. The Nets, that's not man-made.
No, it is not.
We look at the Bulls. The Bulls should be a top 5 team in the East. That team is all free agency picks, all trades, and and that's also a failure.
Yeah, and you look at like all like the dynasties, look at like Jordan's Bulls. Most of those they drafted Jordan, they drafted Pippen, and like Dennis Rodman was a free agent signing, but he's not even there to score. But like their best two guys, Jordan and Pippen, they drafted those guys. The Boston Celtics brought guys in and out in free agency, but they drafted Larry, they drafted Parrish, they drafted Kevin McHale. I believe they even drafted Dennis Johnson, God rest his soul. And
didn't they draft Bill Russell?
They did. Yeah, they drafted Bill Russell. Like those kind, like the teams are like even the Warriors. Yes, they signed KD and they and Iguodala and other guys, but Steph, Clay, Draymond, they drafted those three.
They did.
And like the Nets did not draft KD, did not draft Kyrie, did not draft Harden. And like the Lakers didn't draft LeBron. They gave up everything they had for AD. They also didn't draft Russ. Like these super teams that are like drafted, and then when the time's right, you find the right free agent. Those work, but teams that they just throw money and all their assets at all these great players, but with big egos who don't know how to coexist. It never works, and it never will.
It does not. No, it does not. It's just an absolute shit show.
It is.
This trade deadline was crazy.
Nuts.
It was a lot of big moves after big moves. But, once again, the Miami Heat decides Pat Riley is almost like the groundhog on Groundhog's Day. But instead, it goes like this. If Pat Riley decides to sleep during the trade deadline, he just doesn't pick up anybody. If he wakes up, then maybe he'll make a move. Miami needed a piece.
They did.
They needed any piece at this point. This is a PG-13 related podcast, right?
This is not for kids.
It's not for kids. Okay, where the fuck was the John Collins trade? Here's the thing, every single day, John Collins is getting traded. Every single day, the Hawks are trying to trade for John Collins. And every single day, Pat Riley is taking the biggest fucking cat nap you've seen in your life. He's grabbing the early bird special, at his local diner before making a trade. They needed a guy like John Collins. They needed a guy like Bradley Beal. They could have even found use in a guy like Jakob Poeltl. They could have found some use in him, but they didn't pick him up. Jeez, I cannot believe this franchise. I've had enough. I hope they lose their next 40 games. I said I hope they lose all the rest of their 40 games.
How's it going, Redbox?
Hi, Redbox. I hope they don't make the play-ins. I hope they get shit on by every single team, including the Pistons. I want the Pistons to absolutely destroy them. I want Jay and Ivy to pop the fuck off and posterize Bam Adebayo. I am sick and tired of this team not making moves when they need to, but all of a sudden, washed Russell Westbrook, who's been garbage for the past 5 years, looking for a buyout. Pat Riley perks up. Buyout season, baby. Let's go. Here we go. We're gonna. Oh yeah, because the upgrade we need is Russell Westbrook for Kyle Lowry. Talk about failure.
By the way, Redbox, how you doing? All right, so Miami. I think they are probably the losers at the trade deadline. I don't know why Kyle Lowry is still there. It doesn't make any sense at this point. He's just not the same player. This team does not have a lot of playmaking. They just don't. They didn't. If they had more playmaking, they would have probably won a championship last year, to be honest. And they did not have the depth they had last year. I think they should have done something. I know that they had talks with a bunch of different guys, but they couldn't get anything done. I would have probably try to move, maybe, honestly, you know what? Since Redbox is here and he's a Raptors fan, Redbox, would you be against trading Fred VanVleet for Kyle Lowry and then maybe Miami could give you a first-round pick and something else?
No. I don't think so.
Yeah, I think it could work.
I would take him. We need a guy like OG.
Yeah.
That's who we need.
That would have been a perfect
Miami had the pieces. They have the pieces to go for him. Another guy they had the pieces for, they also should have went for, Bones Highland.
Yeah,
Bones Highland is a very underrated player. He is a bucket. He's a great 3-point shooter. He's one of those guys that can make his own shots, something that Miami needs. Yeah. He could be that piece and have that great young backcourt in Bones Highland and Tyler Hero. And we had the pieces. I ran it through the trade machine. All Miami needed to do was trade away Max and Duncan, and they would have gotten them.
Because I would do VanVleet for Lowry. I would absolutely not do OG for Lowry. We're coming out on the losing end of that one. We're already coming out on the losing end of VanVleet Lowry, but it's something we could take. The Raptors played the deadline smart. They just got Poeltl back, and they sent away Kem Birch, who quite frankly hasn't been doing shit for the Raptors this year.
Nah, Kem Birch is kind of useless. I'm sorry, Redbox.
Averaging 8 minutes and 2 points per game. So, yeah, we could lose them. That was okay. But other than that, they played the deadline very smart by basically not doing anything.
I mean, yeah, I thought Van Vliet or OG could go, but at the same time, the Raptors have a nice core with Siakam, Scotty Barnes, OG, Van Vliet, all these guys. You know,
and he was on the table, but we were making the asking price super unreasonable for him, which was the right way to go about it.
yeah, I know. I think with OG, someone made an offer. I think someone made an offer, and the Raptors said no. You know, there was talks about Van Vliet. I know the Warriors tried to get OG. I just think they didn't like. They figured, you know, they floated them. They just didn't get what they wanted back, so they stood pat. Which is, I mean, OG's got 2 years left, so that definitely makes sense.
And now Dallas and Phoenix might be the 2 best teams in the league all of a sudden. How that happens, I do not know.
Yeah, very crazy. You know, the Dallas and Phoenix are probably the 2 best teams in the West.
I'm not sold on Dallas. Nope, I'm not sold on Dallas just yet. Something's going to happen. Kyrie's going to say something stupid. Kyrie's going to get injured. As you could tell, it's all going to be involved with Kyrie. Reggie Bullock is their starting power forward. That's outside of that starting lineup, who's good?
They don't have a ton of depth now.
They have no depth. You're basically asking Jason Kidd to play that entire starting lineup for 48 minutes. And it's not happening.
What were the Suns doing getting rid of Mikal Bridges? I
mean, they brought in Kevin Durant.
They brought in Kevin Durant, so it kind of evens out. I mean, he is a good defender, Mikal Bridges, but I'm taking Kevin Durant any day. If you ask me, it was an absolute steal from Phoenix to give up so little.
I mean, Jay Crowder, obviously, he hasn't played all year. They've been sitting him just because they don't want him to get hurt because they want to trade him. And then you send 2 solid young pieces in Bridges and Johnson, and then when you're competing for a title like the Suns, first-round picks really don't mean that much. Outside of a lottery, you're very rarely find a piece. They've happened before. Jokic was a late second-round pick. Giannis was not a lottery pick, but usually you're not finding a guy like that even outside the top 14 or 15 picks. So the Suns are gonna have, you know, the 27th, 28th pick for a few years. Yep. It's not that much. So, and if you're gonna Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson for Kevin Durant, that's not that much for Phoenix to give up, really.
No, it's not. I was surprised. If I was Sean Marks, I would have asked for both Cameron Johnson and Cameron Payne, and Chris Paul.
Yeah, I would have probably said CP3 especially to make the money work. Probably Bridges, Johnson, Endor, Ayton, and then a couple picks.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is Durant worth as much as he would have been 5 years ago, though? Anymore?
Durant, that's a good question. I still think he is. Durant is still a top 10 player, maybe even top 7 player in the NBA.
Yeah.
Even at his worst, he's still a top 7. He's always going to be in an MVP conversation. He can carry a team. I still don't think the Suns win a championship, though, because KD is also getting more injury prone. He's one of those guys where you just wake up one day and just like tear his Achilles, getting out of bed.
We did this on our NBA on our free agency space yesterday. Someone was saying this back in 2012. Him and LeBron were like the 2 best players in the league, and you could almost compare the 2. And now it's not even close. He has either. Some say fallen off, some say just not getting any better while LeBron's gotten that much better. I don't know. How many more years does KD have in him at this A1 elite level? I don't know.
Yeah, he's had so many injuries. He's the guy when he's on, and when he's on the court, he's arguably the best player in basketball, but he's so injury prone. He obviously comes with a lot of baggage. And just, He's
just a bad guy in general. His character is not going to be good for that team. That entire Suns team just has bad character.
Book, Durant.
CP3 is also not...
He's very... CP3 is a little controlling, a little demanding.
Yeah, he's a bit of a... Here's the thing, he's not as bad as KD.
No.
Here's the thing, Devin Booker isn't necessarily a bad dude off the court. He's just a bitch on the court.
Yeah, he just whines.
He just whines a lot. And then Chris Paul, yeah, there's a lot of things to where there's leadership and then there's Chris Paul.
And obviously Durant is
Yep.
she's just soft.
Yeah, and by the way, real quick, before we end this, I need to make a statement on LeBron, but, let's keep going for now.
Oh boy.
All right, so you know what? Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this trade. So, Memphis Clippers and the Rockets make a trade. So John Wall goes back to the Rockets. Goes back to the Rockets. Danny Green also goes there, as well as a swap this year from the Clippers. Clippers get Eric Gordon and 3-2s. Finally, Eric Gordon is out of Houston. Memphis gets Luke Kennard. So, what do you guys?
Karma is a bitch.
What do you guys?
Wait, where's Luke Kennard going again?
He goes to Memphis Grizzlies.
That's huge.
That's a nice pickup.
That's huge. Luke Kennard is an underrated 3-point shooter. He has had moments where he's where he has very good 3-point shooting. They could use that. Ja's an excellent player. I think he's had many moments where he's an MVP candidate. His only issue is to where he can't shoot the 3. He's a good defender. He's a great defender. He's a great 2-point shooter, mid-range layups. He's got some of the best posters in the league right now. Some of the best hops in the league right now. The only thing that he's missing is a 3-point shot, which I'm sure he'll get over time. But for now, Luke Kennard's still a great piece to pick up.
Yeah, that's a nice piece, and I do like the Clippers picking up Eric Gordon. I do believe he can help a contender.
Yeah.
And he did not fit in Houston. John Wall, I kind of felt like it was a little classless going on that podcast and talking about guys that are still in the league.
He was talking about some guy like Justin something.
Justin Patton.
Justin Patton. No one knew who the hell he was, and they're like, "Who the hell are you calling out right now?"
I see his point because they sat him the whole year, but they're starting Justin Patton at one point. I saw his point, but that's just like kind of like a mutual respect thing. You're both pro players. I didn't love that. And Danny Green goes there. I think they both get bought out. I think Wall and Danny Green both get bought out. Wall, I think off the bench could help could help a little bit as a backup.
Wall's career is done. He's
pretty much done. Maybe as a number 2 point guard playing 15 minutes, he can score a little bit. And Danny Green can probably, honestly, Danny Green can bring, because he has so much playoff experience. I think he brings that, but he's not giving you much more.
No, he's not. He's going to the Rockets, you said?
Yeah.
Almost like his cousin played for the Rockets, Gerald Green.
Yeah.
So it all comes full circle.
Maybe Houston did come out on the winning end of this because they had absolutely nobody.
Yeah.
I mean, they were a nobody team going into this. They may have come out of the trade deadline with something. I think John Wall, again, nobody in this trade is legendary. Nobody in this trade is exceptional. This is all depth being traded around. I mean, Eric Gordon might be a starter at LA. And I'm thinking maybe these two could be starters in Houston because they are such a bad team.
Well, yeah, on paper, yeah, they're better than some of the guys they got, but Houston at this point just wants Wembanyama, so I think they might not start just because it gives them a worse chance to win.
Well, that's the whole thing too. I mean, I guess they're trying to build somewhat of a team for when they get Wembanyama, but this isn't it. If like this,
yeah.
Danny Green, his best days are behind him.
Yep.
They were in Toronto.
Yeah.
John Wall, I don't know. I mean, he's been an average player throughout his career. He's seen better days for sure, though. So I think anything could happen with these two players. They could both be on the bench. They could both start. I don't see them getting more than 25 minutes per game. They're max, probably not even. But I think they came out on the winning end of this purely because they had so little of anything going into this, and now they're coming out of it with at least something to work with. I think the Clippers are just building. They're building with Eric Gordon. That's a good pickup. I think he can work in with the core they got there, but I think Houston, they needed something. They could have done better, absolutely, but they got what they had to offer. For what they had to offer, they got an okay return. Yeah,
and they also get the swap from the Clippers, so you basically trade. I mean, getting a first-round pick for Eric Gordon is a really good return. So when you look at it that way, I think you'd say the Rockets won. I think Wall gets pulled out. Danny Green might as well. But yeah, if you look at it, they got Eric Gordon out of there, and they get a first-round pick back. And then, Wall and Green, I guess, on a team like that might be able to help you. I do see what you're saying. Let's jump to the Lakers. They pick up Mo Bamba for Pat Bev and a second pick go to Orlando. What do you guys think about that move?
I saw this trade.
Poor Patrick Beverly, though. I mean, he's just getting moved everywhere. Mo Bamba's a pickup. He's a pickup. That's my answer. He's a pickup.
He's just a pickup?
He's a pickup. Well, here's the thing. If you follow the cycle, guys, so hear me out here.
Yeah.
Shaq was elite in Orlando.
That's right, I saw
and then he goes to the Lakers and becomes elite, even more elite there. Dwight Howard, elite in Orlando, bad in the Lakers, which means, based off process of elimination, Mo Bamba is going to be, because he's bad in Orlando, he's going to be the next Shaq in the Lakers, guys. Be ready for it.
Yeah, the Lakers are just picking up any big man they could get. They picked up Vanderbilt. They swap out Thomas Bryant, Damian Jones, but they pick up Vanderbilt now. They pick up Mo Bamba. I think they realize AD, they cannot trust his health at this point to even...
Not at all.
They cannot trust him to even be there for the postseason. So they decided, let's get as much big man depth as we can.
This is the Lakers we're talking about.
Yeah, they just want as much big man depth as they can because they know about the health concerns with AD, and even LeBron for that matter. LeBron's going to be 38 years old. He's had injuries the last couple of years as well. So they figured, let's ship out. They swap out Thomas Bryant for and Damian Jones for Mo Bamba and Jared Vanderbilt, which probably is an upgrade behind AD.
No, this move, I don't think it's like team changing.
No,
I mean it's better, but it's still not great.
They definitely got better up down. They did do a pretty good job, to be honest. Getting Rui Hachimura helps a little bit, gives them a little more depth, and now you get Russell Westbrook out of there, and then you get a D'Lo who's a much better fit. You get Beasley who helps a little bit, and then you get Vanderbilt, give you some depth. And now Pat Bev really wasn't a good fit there. He's not going to start anywhere now with D'Lo there, and you get Mo Bamba, which so again their depth got a little bit better. They couldn't get much worse. That depth there is horrible. Their depth got a little bit better. They have a point guard that's a much better fit now. But outside of that, they probably went from a team that finishes just out to maybe just in the play-ins. That's in my opinion. I still don't think they're higher than probably a 7th or 8th team in the West.
Yeah, they are.
And before we wrap up, let's talk about this trade. So the Pistons got James Wiseman from the Warriors.
Bust.
Sadiq Bey gets sent from Detroit to Atlanta. Golden State takes the 5 second rounds they got from Detroit for Wiseman, and they send all of them to Portland to get back Gary Payton II, and they also send Kevin Knox in that deal. So, what are you guys' thoughts on that deal before we close this thing out?
Yeah, I just need to make a statement on LeBron.
Okay.
And then I'll go. Then we'll do that. But anyway, this is an okay trade. Sadiq Bey's not that good. I'm not sure what okay, I guess the thing he brings to the Warriors that James Wiseman didn't is playtime.
Yeah.
He can shoot the 3, which is good, but they're not really desperate for 3-point shooters right now. I mean, you have arguably the best backcourt in the league. So, I just don't... He could be a good rotational piece for Kayvon Looney, but that's about it.
Red Box?
Yeah, I think a lot of Pistons fans are not happy with this Sadiq Bey trade, and I don't know why.
I'm with you there.
Because I feel like they're coming out on the winning end of this with James Wiseman. Where was Sadiq Bey going? Let's be real.
Yeah.
Where was he going? I mean, he was one of the best players on Detroit's a young team.
Yes.
but I don't really know where their prospects for growth are with this young squad.
Yeah.
It's not like their hockey counterpart, the Red Wings, where this team is going to be contenders in 2 or 3 years. I don't see that with the Pistons.
Not yet.
They have spurts of consistency. They have spurts of greatness for about 13 minutes, and then they spend the rest of the game trying to figure out where to pass the ball.
Basically.
I mean, if you watch the game on Wednesday night against Cleveland, they played a great first half of ball, and then Cleveland ended up winning by 30 plus.
Yeah.
I think it was 115-85. I don't have the score in front of me.
Yeah,
but
they're not very good.
After the Pistons played, I turned the game on in the third quarter because I thought it was. First of all, it was something to watch during the halftime of the Raptors game, and second of all, it was a great game. It was a great game up until the third quarter, and then the Pistons imploded. Where is the consistency with this team? Sadiq Bey is clearly not. He's not producing. I say take a chance on Wiseman. He might. No one's turning around their fortunes at this point for this season. The Pistons are not making the playoffs. They're well within the Victor Wembanyama sweep.
Very much so, yeah.
Which, if they get him, watch out, because that might be the one piece to bring them all together. It might be the one ring to rule them all for the Pistons. I think if he gets in there, that's a potentially dangerous team. So I think that they're trying to build up like the Rockets. They're trying to build up. He's not going to put them over the top. That's not the point. It's going to be they're building up because they think they got that number one pick, and they're probably not wrong to think as much. So I don't know why Pistons fans are so pissed. I don't get it.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Look, I have not loved what I've seen from Wiseman. He hasn't been able to get on the court, but if he can stay healthy, this dude was so talented coming out of Memphis, like so highly talented. I thought he should have been number one pick in that draft. Going in, obviously looking back, not, but going into the draft, I thought he should have been.
Absolutely.
So to give up Sadiq Bey and a bunch of late picks for James Wiseman, could he be a flop? Could he be a giant buzz? He absolutely could be, and he just might be. But if maybe he needs a change of scenery, and he's the kind of guy that might with a change of scenery now, because normally when you have like the Warriors that year had a very off year. They went from being the top team in the league to being one of the worst. So normally when you draft a guy in the top three, he's gonna play 30 minutes a game because you're rebuilding. They draft him like, oh yeah, you're like our third string center. You're lucky to get 10 minutes. So maybe that kind of threw him off, which I could see. And then he had the injuries and just not able to see the floor. Now maybe he can go to Detroit and get actual playing time, and again maybe get his confidence back. Maybe at least get some momentum into next year. Maybe he can turn into something. So I think for what they gave up, I think it's worth the gamble.
Absolutely.
All right, that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you, Justin, for coming on. We're gonna try to have him on.
Wait, I still got my second.
That's right. Never mind. What's your LeBron take?
Cut the camera on me, ladies and gentlemen. Liam. First, I want to say congratulations to LeBron for getting the all-time scoring record. I wasn't here when you were talking about it. But we need to talk about hypocrisy in the NBA fan base. Mm. Let's talk about this. The definition of stat padding is to where you play not to win, but just to improve your stats. You know who most people called a stat padder? Russell Westbrook. Mm-hmm. Russell Westbrook, however, when having a triple-double, which he now holds the record for, won 80% of their games. Yeah. 80. Which means his triple-doubles were contributing to the team. Mm-hmm. I was doing my research right now, and I was looking up some stats. It only gets lower. The record only gets lower the higher LeBron scores. When LeBron scores 15 points, they're a solid 500, 21 and 20. 21 and 21. When he scores 25 points, which is an average amount, they're actually above 500, 17 and 16. When he scores 30 points, they're 10 and 12.
Yeah.
So, here's the thing, LeBron. You won. You got the scoring title off of dropping 30, 40 most of your games when you were down, 20 already, and you just didn't want the C team to play.
Yeah.
And you also lost that game. And people might not know this, but the guy who actually still kept them in that game was the guy that they just traded away. Russell Westbrook. He was the guy that did it. So before NBA fans start crying about Russell Westbrook, calling him a stat patter, he's a stat patter, he only cares for himself, look at what LeBron has done to reach Kareem's record this year. Because it is all stat padding. They have one of the worst records in the NBA. This D'Lo trade might get them the 10th seed. And to hold a ceremony for it is ridiculous. Where was Steph's ceremony? Where was Russell Westbrook's ceremony?
Yeah.
Where was Kareem's ceremony? They didn't have one. That's your answer. And let me just mention one more thing. LeBron. If Kareem played during the 3-point era and he had a 3-point shot and had the same amount of threes LeBron did, let this sink in. If Kareem had the same amount of threes LeBron did, about 2,200, Kareem would have over 44,000 points.
Wow.
That's how much Kareem would have. LeBron, good job, but you are a stat patter. Also, for the trade deadline, I want to shout out the real MVP, the 4 second-round picks that everyone gets.
Yeah, a lot of second-round picks, one each way. Thank you, Justin, for your very honest LeBron take. That's all I got for you guys to say. Thank you, Redbox, for joining me. Thank you, Justin, for joining me. Until next time, so long, and have a great day.
Peace out.